What up, YouTube? It's your boy KJ Revolving, and I'm here with my boy.
Freddie. Multiple minds hearing multiple messages.
Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to my boy, and as well as subscribe to me too. Is there anything you'd like to say right now?
Hey man, all I say is, hey, my whole goal is multiple minds hearing multiple messages. If you hear a message, I hear it differently from you. Don't judge me based off of what I hear or how I perceive it. Just go down there in the comment section and make sure you educate me or give me a different perspective on it. And hey, let's all be calm, collected.
Exactly. We're both human beings at the end of the day. Everybody is entitled to their own opinions. But besides that, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Most definitely.
So now, today we have Black people anonymously answer 7 burning questions. Now, since Black people are answering these questions, we are Black too, so we want to see our reaction to these questions and then give our input on the matter at hand. And this video is by Jubilee. Without further ado, let's get into the video. And again, subscribe to my boy.
Oh yeah.
Let me see if I have this turned up too. Okay.
In an age of call-outs, culture wars, and perfect facades, people can be afraid to express how they really feel.
And that's facts! Because of how society view us people as of today. You know what I mean?
I think more of it too is the chances of you getting counseled. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And so many people are afraid to speak their mind because being counseled, and that needs to chill out. We live in a free country. That's your First Amendment.
Exactly. And like we already said, people are entitled to their own opinion. Like, just because you don't like what somebody else to say, they could care less. You're not going to change that person's opinion at all.
Did you hear?
Because it's what they think.
Did you hear that saying? Did your grandma ever say opinions are like a-holes? Everybody got one. So at the end of the day, let people have their opinion.
Exactly. And just leave it be.
So we brought together 7 strangers.
And it's so sad that people have to protect their identity just to answer to certain questions like this too.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to feel bashed or fucking canceled or anything like that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This shit like gotta change, man.
Yeah.
We live in that kind of society. We went so far down that we as this generation became so like soft in a certain way that we have no hard skin at all. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's just sad, bro.
Too emotional.
To their identities and asked them all 7 burning audience questions. What will be revealed when we take the mask off?
If your answer is yes, you'll turn your light on. Fuck the police.
I know that there are quote unquote good cops, but if you are working in an entire force with individuals who are essentially mostly racist, and where police come from, the history of it with being the sheriffs of slaves and tracking down slaves using dogs or whatever they're using, it's just wearing that badge. It's just, you're never really here for us, and we never feel safe for that reason. So, yeah.
This shit getting tough already, bro. How do you feel about that?
So, it's nothing that you could really do to change somebody that is racist.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? As long as that person is not doing certain things to disadvantage others, somebody being racist really doesn't hurt you. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So sometimes you just have to ignore that they don't like you. I don't care if you don't like me. But if you're causing issues in my life, now I got a problem.
Exactly.
And that's when we need to start actually doing something. But if he don't like black people and he not doing anything, let him not like black people.
Me personally, bro. Alright, so let's say this right here. So me, it's like this right here. Based on, I don't think, essentially it does look like on the internet, online, that most cops are racist. But that's what society perceives it. And so that's what is the most thing that is shown is certain cops when attacking black people or being racist to black people. That's what society sees. I don't view the entire police force as a whole as racist, but I do understand that shit like that needs to be changed and fixed. And I do see a lot of that shit happening on the internet, which also needs to change. Because that shit is on the internet, that's why everybody think that the police is like that.
And another thing too, I'm gonna add in. I think a lot of times in society today, we focus so much on police that we ignore other issues in the black community.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that that's not an issue in the community. I feel like that's something that needs somewhat of attention, but I feel like we focus a little bit too much on that.
Right.
In a sense. But like I said, I do get sometimes what's going on. But to say fuck the police, oh my bad, I didn't mean to cuss.
No,
But,
man, we cuss all the time, man. Oh.
but to say that, don't call the police when somebody breaking in your house now. You got to keep that same energy.
That's facts. And you never know what you're going through or what's going to happen because you're saying fuck the police. And another thing on top of this, sorry for having this video still pause, y'all, but another thing on top of this is, hold on, it's the fact that you're saying fuck the police, but what about all those people that helps us, you know what I'm saying? And I just find it crazy because I this is off topic, but I remember this video. I think they said I remember it, I don't know, not like some white people be saying like, yeah man, Black Lives Matter. What about all lives matter? But I think some people get the BLM. What does Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter mean? Confused. Like when people are doing this right here, Black Power, Black Lives Matter. They're trying to say Black Lives Matter too. That's why I think that people forget that. That's why I think that we forgot to add on the BLM because obviously all lives matter, but they're trying to say that Black Lives Matter too. That's the most important part too, is the two that people forget. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that shit crazy though.
The only reason why I can't fully say that, like you just said, there are some good out there, and personally having a cousin who is a police officer, but everything else behind that, and all of the other people who bring the racist and pretty much mentality to it, yeah, no, it's for sure.
All right, we're going to have everyone join the conversation.
I don't really feel anything towards this statement because I haven't had any encounters with police, like, ever.
Why do you have to have a personal experience? Why can't you just look at the damage that's has?
As society perceives it, that's why everybody has that certain mentality of fuck the police because everybody's jumping on top of each other, and that shouldn't be a thing. You shouldn't have to change somebody's opinion because of that, because of what you went through. You as a person should be dealing at the issue at hand, not everybody else.
Exactly.
It's been done.
It's different because I feel like I feel the weight of my ancestors in certain situations in other areas of my life than I do with the police.
Okay, this is not me taking away from the black community in general because police are always targeting us, but I find it interesting that only the black men had agreed with that.
I'm like on the fence with it because I know that there are black cops out there that are truly trying to protect and serve, and I really don't know what I would do if we completely destroyed the police system. I would be scared because it's like, okay, well, I don't believe that is the solution, but yes, black men have that main encounter with the police, and sometimes it's annoying because it's like, okay, is this the only cause that y'all care about is police brutality? But yeah, it's halfway with me.
I still feel it.
But see, that would be afraid if they destroyed the whole police system. Because think about it, when you go into these inner cities, okay, like she said, they focus on police brutality so much.
Oh,
when it actually comes down to like the stuff going on in the inner city, who's gonna be there to protect these people?
exactly.
Because me growing up, I'm not gonna get too personal in my life, but there was a time domestic violence happened in my home, and being a kid, we taking clothes hangers, twisting them together, and we trying to be the full grown man with them. It's like what can a kid do?
Right.
You know, you actually need police officers. And I understand people saying F the police, but if you're going to be in the community and you're going to patrol the community and actually be the security, and then you want to get rid of the police, hey, you got to deal with everything that comes with it.
Exactly. And on top to add with that, I should have said this a couple minutes before I said about the BLM. I remember what I was going to say now. So I think the BLM was made to to put a stop on police brutality in general. But sometimes I think yes, police brutality is bad, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the only thing that's bad. I feel like that even though we are focusing on pushing the word Black Lives Matter and stopping preventing police brutality and shit like that, yeah, that's bad and shit like that. But we still, even though we try to come together with the police brutality part, but we forget each other as people. You know what I mean? Like we still shooting each other,
Yeah.
causing violence to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when it comes to issues like that, people want to focus on that than focus on our inner issues. You know what I mean?
You know why
And it's just
like
so
that?
weird to me.
It's like that because it's more profitable.
Mm.
You have to understand a lot of these things like this with a lot of our people killing each other in these inner cities is more profitable. You know what I'm saying?
It's just crazy.
That's why they'll do this. Think about it. It's all about race baiting. That's the reason why every time an election comes, they'll talk about race. And I'm not denying racism by saying that none of that stuff is not a factor.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is they're using these things to control us as people. I believe the Biden administration passed the anti-lynching law. It's been illegal to kill people.
Definitely.
So why we got an anti-lynching law? It takes away from them actually doing things for us in our community. It's a distraction.
It's just crazy, man.
But that's why I say it's profitable. That's the reason why they focus on police killing and not the inner city.
Yeah, the inner like we fight for Black Lives Matter, police brutality, but at the same time we still shooting, killing each other, causing violence. Stop the violence and put on the gloves. What happened there? Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And then we want to get mad when people portray us as aggressive, loud. I am loud. I don't care. But we being portrayed as that is our faults.
No, I say somewhat to a sense.
You know,
it
you know
is.
what I mean?
I definitely agree because after a while of seeing something over and over again, it do give off that image.
Exactly.
But sometimes it is with television programming, TV and social media and stuff like that. They do actually overly promote that image to make
Right.
somebody look worse.
Yeah,
But
make
that
us
has
look
been
bad.
going on years before. Like they would make us seem barbaric, and during the minstrel show they used to have white men with black face and
Yes.
doing hoo,
That shit's crazy.
shaking dice. It was all programming to make other people dislike us as a
And
people.
we make it even worse when we're actually
Exactly.
doing these things to each other.
Exactly.
That's one thing I just could never understand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Feelings do become more intense though once you have an experience.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. No,
And so,
definitely.
like, seeing situations where my dad got pulled over, got questioned, got harassed for no reason, then to experience my situation down in Texas, I had bought guns for the first time, registered them, followed everything to the T, and then still get pressed up against the side of my car like I did something wrong and I did it the exact way that y'all said I had to do it. That experience right there, my dad's situation started it, and then my situation is what finalized it.
Are Asians racist towards you?
I'm gonna see what they have to say first. That's
I have a
wild.
neighbor who is very privileged. She's married to a white man. She's Asian, and I feel like that comes a lot nowadays in America. I feel like Asian women are trying to be the white woman of America, and they're not realizing that they're also in marginalized communities just as we are.
Especially Asians that are born into American culture. It seems like they're just pretty much white and they don't have any empathy for other minorities.
Let me see what the other guys got to say.
I have had negative interactions with like Asian people or like other people because I'm black and because colorism is a thing. But I've also had like positive interactions, so I feel like yeah, Asian. It's just a very generalized term.
I know.
I feel exactly how that dude feels. I had never had a problem with any Asian person whatsoever. You?
Actually, I actually have.
You?
I actually had somebody in the Navy that was Asian. Was like he said something. He said something N word, and I was like,
Was it somebody I know?
who?
Who? You
Yeah.
did that shit?
Yeah,
No
he said
way.
that, and I was like, what makes it to where you're so comfortable to say something like that around me? And I think a lot of times some of those Asian people, they use that person of color to like sneak in saying something like that, and it's not right. I've seen my people being beaten in the stores by Asian people. I've seen some of our people. You can go watch clips about this. Black people getting murdered in stores by these people. But then it goes to the thing back what I was saying with BLM. They only focus on police, but where is the focus when these things happen to our people in these stores? You know what I'm saying? So, me personally, I have experienced it. But do I hate them? No, because I know a lot of good Asian people, and like I said, I do have respect. For example, like Son. Son is a really good dude. He's a hard worker. Every time he see me, always got a good attitude. Never do anything bad. Have I had experience with bad? Yes.
So you experienced both sides. Me personally, I never experienced both sides before. I didn't even know who was that kind of person. I knew, but some people also like get Asians mixed up too, like because Asians do talk a certain kind of way, and people are like, oh my god, so rude, like he's so mean, this and that. But sometimes that's how some Asian people naturally is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think some people do get that shit mixed up too.
Yeah. Now the colorism thing, I will say that because even if you look at their culture, they do skin bleaching. The whiter you are, that's why you see a lot of Asian people very pale, because they look at you as dirty the darker you are. So that actually is a thing in their culture. But I'm not one of those people that's finna say I'm disadvantaged because I'm dark skinned. I love who I am. I feel like I'm beautiful inside and out.
And another thing is, believe it or not, based on what I heard, a lot of people in Japan, for example, loves black people, love American people, like. And then I seen there's this YouTuber who makes videos like saying like how do people in Japan feel about black people, and they give like positive meanings and everything about it. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways. You know, but yeah, it's just crazy though.
For sure.
I know it happens, of course, but me personally, I have not experienced racism from the Asian community. I do.
But I think they also forget that, bro, Asians damn near ain't no different from us. You know what I mean? They get treated just as bad, if not even worse. I wouldn't say that. They get treated bad as well. You know what I mean? Especially like, and then some people mess with the like, you know what I'm saying? Like some people mess with the wrong Asian person, they get the ass whooped, or like bullying an Asian person. That shit happens all the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I do believe that Asians do get they get caught up in racism too.
Yeah.
Totally agree with the idea of colorism, because it does seem like the darker you are, the quote uglier you are in any ethnicity, which does suck.
I think the American influence is big. And that's on anybody that comes, no matter where you come from, what background. When you get to America and you spend a couple of years here, you start to see how things are done, whether they're right or wrong. You see how things are done, how black people are treated, how white people are treated. So a little bit after I left the military, I spent a couple of years in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and South Korea. These places were places where I was accepted more so than back home. It was shocking.
What I say?
Yeah.
I think it's just America in general. People love you everywhere else. It's just America just have a very bad system.
It's a Western mentality.
Yes.
Like Europe and America, it's very Western. It's something wrong with us in the West.
Exactly.
I don't know what it is.
Shocking to me to not be followed around in stores in South Korea. It was shocking to me to not be treated or even looked at the same way I would be walking down the street in certain places here.
It's crazy.
I have dated outside my race.
I might as well be red too.
In my past dating history, I feel like, I tasted the rainbow pretty much.
Bruh, taste the rainbow. Wow. But me, I taste the rainbow too. That's all I gotta say.
Like, I dated
Now I'm with Hispanic girls. So,
East Asian men, I've dated Hispanic men. It's different. Like you're never gonna find somebody outside of your race that's gonna 100% understand you, understand your struggle, understand your family, why you do things the way.
That's also true. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna find somebody that's outside your race that understands what you're going. But also it does depend on similar backgrounds too. It can have similar backgrounds, but completely understand what you're going through. I highly doubt so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Way that you do. When I'm dating them, I know it's going to be different, and I feel that's kind of like why I'm entertaining the fact of even doing that.
I don't think that I would necessarily date a white person. I just feel like there's a disconnect. But as long as like they're willing to have those conversations with me and understand like my blackness, I want to have those conversations with them, and I don't mind what their race is.
I think for me, it's
That's how I feel with being like genuine and friendly with people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really like in a certain category or a certain group. I can hang around white people, Asian. I'm diverse. You know what I mean? I don't hang around a specific group of people, and I feel like that's how it should be all around the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy's my brother right here, but somebody that's the complete opposite of him can be my brother too, and it don't matter what race they are. That's just a thing I feel. You know?
Yeah, just let the energy lead you. If
Exactly.
y'all got that same energy, rock with each other.
Exactly. It shouldn't matter whether the person is black, white, Asian, Persian. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
it's just all about my comfort level with you and how much I can relate. And like
I feel exactly
you
how
said,
you feel.
I think a white woman would be like at the bottom of the totem pole, just because we don't have that much to connect on. But I'm not opposed to it. I would just kind of rather work with something that I know there's a lot of compatibility there.
I'm not opposed to dating outside my race, but in terms of marriage, I would love to marry a black man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think about our ancestors. Like, they're probably turning in our grave. They're grave. Like, they're like, what are you doing? Like, we've done so much, and you want to be with this white person or this non-black person?
I've never dated outside of my race, but maybe I should, because a lot of black men tend to go to non-black
Because
women.
they can control them.
Yes,
They
and
feel they can
because
control
they're easier. And because
You want to talk about that? Okay, I want to say something about that turning over in your grave.
I'm gonna let him go first.
You don't know what our ancestors are doing, and at the end of the day, we gotta stop always bringing stuff back to our ancestors. It's a certain point in our life we're going to have to move forward. I'm not talking about forgetting what happens, because whatever you forget, you're doomed to repeat.
Right.
But it's time to forgive and move on, and you have to let that go. Our ancestors are not turning in their graves. Matter of fact, if they're turning in their graves about anything, it's probably our community, because how messed up it is. So that's something that I think that they rolling in their graves about.
Right.
And what was the second part? Oh,
The
black men dating
non-black women.
non-black women. Look, at the end of the day, you can't help what other people choose to be with. And we need to stop judging other people for who they decide to be with. If they find love in that person, that is who they found love in. We
Right on
need
the diet. Right. I can't say nothing about that.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I would go more into detail about this, but people gonna really be on my neck. I don't really care what
Yeah, like it's multiple minds hearing multiple messages. Like, bro, at the end of the day, we are people just like you, whether
Yeah.
you like it or not.
Like judging other people for who they date. If he wants to date a white girl, Asian, Hispanic, leave him alone. Okay,
Exactly.
that's what he does. I decided to pick a black woman. That was my choice. At the end of the day, that's the person I felt comfortable with and I actually like. I wasn't opposed to other people, but that is who I like.
That is exactly everything he said. He hit right on the dot. No lie. I can't say I got him speechless. That's how much he hit it on the dot. Got nothing to say about that. That was nice.
For real.
But wait, you said another thing is no it's not because anybody's easier than the other. I think love is a big thing. Like if you actually love a person, it shouldn't matter what race or what they look like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you love that person, as
Yeah.
well as our ancestors. Martin Luther King pushed hard for equality. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Civil rights, equality. That's one of the biggest things he's pushed for. And since we have the same, we're supposed to have the same you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
The same thing as other people,
Like being equal and stuff like
equal.
that.
We have the same rights and everything as other people. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like for example, when women want more equality with what the men have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like shit like that. They want equality. I feel like us as a race have equality now, but not as much. But we're getting there. You know what I mean?
I would oppose that. I feel like we got the same rights. I think we like opportunity.
Yes, that's what I
And,
meant to say.
I think it's more opportunity, but that could be true. I don't know fully everything. I'm not like an expert. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's more just opportunity.
Yeah, I feel yeah, they eat that, but for sure though they eat. We are equal as people. So and Martin Luther King definitely played a big role in that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
our ancestors probably even happy because of what's going on now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you get to date whoever you want. You get to do this. You get to do that. Like
Yeah.
that's good. No problems with that.
Because they have European features, softer hair.
So
They like the Kim Kardashian looking woman.
Exotic.
You want the black woman aesthetic, but you need the European features. So maybe I should date outside of my race.
Oh, I got something quick on that. Go
Yeah, I was
ahead.
about to say it's called sexual preference.
So
That's
on
what
that, yeah, I do agree because some people are attracted to some different things,
Mhm.
but then I say, in a sense, it could be self-hatred. If you're doing all of these things to make your children fit a certain way, then you're dating for the wrong reason. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
actually need to start looking in that mirror, getting some self-love about yourself. Start
Right.
looking at your features, saying that they're beautiful. If you're dating people in other races due to the fact that you want your daughter to have curly hair and lighter skin, like you have a personal problem.
Right.
And that's something you need to fix. And I don't agree with that because do you truly love that person for who they are if you're dating them because you want your child to have curly hair and lighter skin?
Exactly.
It's like,
Shit crazy.
it's not genuine.
But also with that, unless you like those actual features of that person, then that would be just your preference and what you want in either a person, a woman, or a man.
Yeah.
So it goes either or.
I ain't gonna knock your preference.
Exactly.
I personally, like you said, I want to build with the black man. I want to have black children. That's what I want to do. But with this generation of black men, I don't know if it's possible.
Me having sex with a
But see,
white
that's
man is
another
just-
thing that we need to stop doing too. Because you see, with this generation of black men, I don't think it's possible. That's kind of like a backhanded. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, stop throwing negative energy. We need to stop throwing negative energy at one another.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. That's all I got to say.
It's crazy.
It's the master aspect. It's the buck breaking history. If you know what buck breaking is, it's all of that combined, and then the idea of most times, even in heterosexual relationships, it's usually a fetish for the individual to be with you.
That is a thing. That's fucking crazy.
It's either because you have a nice body, or your skin is so dark and lovely, or because you have, that
And
tool.
it's crazy. There's people like that have fetishes because they like the way black people look and shit like that.
Yeah,
How you feel about that? I think that shit's weird.
it is. If somebody fetishing you, do they really actually like you?
Yeah, as a person, or do they like you because of the way you look?
Yeah.
But I think definitely a fetish and a sexual preference is definitely two
Yeah,
different
that's
things.
two different things.
Yes.
They want. If you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, in general, it's always something on your body that they want. And if it's genuinely true love, that can happen. But for the most part, I just think interracial dating is disgusting.
Well, to say
I
that's,
felt oppressed.
to say that's disgusting
It's
is
going a
just
little too
very.
far.
You just doing too much at
Yeah,
this point.
definitely.
Like, do what you do, but like we said, opinions are like a-holes. Everybody got one. That's your opinion. Keep it to yourself. Stop putting negative energy in.
Why would you even say that was wrong? It's crazy.
By my own community.
Like, everybody feel like they got superpowers when they behind a mask. So. Wait, what was the question?
Community.
I felt
Disgusting.
oppressed.
I felt oppressed by my own community.
Let's see what he say. I wonder
I
why.
actually sometimes feel very uncomfortable in spaces full of black people. If you're not desirable as a black woman, if you're not desirable to men, then you tend to get overlooked. I have to work my ass off for things that I want. Black men, cis hetero black men specifically, they oppress all of us. And it sucks because I want to be with the black men,
black
but
men.
it's like I have to try to appeal to my oppressor.
I'm gay, and I'm also black. So within the black community, I feel like, again, when we go to these protests, when we go out to these clubs or parties, and I'm in heterosexual spaces, I feel like, oh, yeah, he's black, but like he's gay, so we can't really mess with him. Like he can't really be in our space. And it's like, how is this your space that you claim over a sexuality and a sexual preference, essentially, rather than us being the same race?
Yeah, of course. Like you were saying, like if you're in the LGBTQ community, it's intersectionality. So, people are more cool with me if I'm passing and they see me as like a cis black guy versus if they know I'm trans.
In terms of my experience, I feel like maybe black people were gatekeeping opportunities or like trying to be super stingy or trying to be the token black person and not really. They kind of like bully other black people to make them be like, you don't deserve to be in my space. Like, this is my zone. This is the area that I'm working in. And it's kind of like they're trying to keep other black people from being successful. Like, I feel like I've seen that a lot. And I feel like that's happened to me before, too. When I was living in Mississippi, I was around predominantly black people. I didn't feel any different. But now that I'm back here in California and I'm around, other races, like, well, I can see why this could be considered colorist, or I can see how in this situation maybe I'm feeling, like I'm not as worthy as these other people. But I just couldn't use the word oppressed really to describe how my experiences have went.
Alright, so I'm not gonna say nothing about the transgender thing because I already know if anything is said, they're gonna remove the video, so I'm not gonna get into that. I have my opinions about it, but I'm not gonna do that. But also I feel like almost everybody in the black community is oppressed by the black community because if you don't fit a specific lifestyle or standard, then technically you're not quote unquote black enough.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, you do have gay men that come into the community, they don't feel embraced by other black people because of their sexual preference.
Right.
And I don't agree with that. I don't feel like that's right. And another reason why I feel like a lot of people are oppressed in the black community too. We had a guy that was in a division, a hound, for example, and it used to aggravate me.
Ooh, yeah.
Because Helm was one of those guys that he didn't grow up in poverty. He didn't grow up in the hood. He didn't struggle. And everybody made him feel bad because he didn't struggle. And they made him feel less of a black person because he didn't struggle.
Exactly.
And that is oppression. You talk about how we are oppressed by white people and stuff like that. Our people oppress him more than a white person will ever do. And you made him feel less. I don't know if he felt less, but I know I would have felt less.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that's right. We oppress our own people. And you can't cry and complain about other people doing it. We have to stop it first.
That's literally like he said, man, and that's why I got confused when we deal with other issues instead of dealing with our community as a whole, like with the violence and stuff like that, or treating each other differently, even though we're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
We so focused on other things outside of our race that we're not focusing on our race exactly, like what's going on inside of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you know, the only group of people in the black community that's not actually oppressed is criminals and rappers and celebrities.
Right.
Because you'll notice, like, I don't have no problem with YSL and none of them. Now, think about it. If I would have ran around doing some of the stuff that they was doing, everybody would have been like, man, lock his dumb ass up, you know?
Exactly.
But now it's them. Now everybody want to talk about, oh, y'all can't use their lyrics. Well, they got evidence that y'all been committing crimes. You get on your song, you talk about committing crimes. Not everybody want to say, oh, you innocent. Mm-hmm. Those are the only people in the black community that don't get oppressed. And those are the type of people that don't add value to the community. They take away.
Right.
So is it just a destructive culture that we have?
Shit's crazy, man.
Was you expecting me to come like this?
I didn't know he was gonna come like this, y'all. But man, this was a great video to react to, bro.
Yeah.
You ever wished you weren't black?
Break it. Break this up? Oh no, it's all going in.
Like, I want to say, record straight, I love myself now. Like, I love being a black woman. But, like, for so long, because of also family members feeding into the whole idea of, like, oh, you know, you're so pretty because you're lighter. For so long, as a child, I associated being black as being something that was a bad thing because I saw how people that were darker than me were treated. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to be this anymore. But, I mean, with a lot of love and compassion and hardcore teaching, I was like, you know, being black is honestly the best thing ever.
So, you want to go?
Oh, you go ahead.
All right. So, for me, man, one thing is I love my skin tone. I love my skin color. I love being black. But the thing is, it doesn't matter what race I am. I'm going to love myself as a person regardless, no matter what race I am. But yes, I do love being black. And on top of that, it reminds me, I forgot to say something. So, but also with me being black and having a black mom, my mom taught me a lot of stuff too. Like because I'm black, sometimes I have to show up right on time back home after playing the game of basketball when it's about to get late, this and that. Cause this is, at the end of the day, this is a dangerous world. And based on what we seen on TV and shit like that, about cops and shit like that, you don't know what's gonna happen. So me being black, I feel like yeah, I love being black, but it also had me like, damn, let me keep my guard up for around a lot of shit in this world.
Yeah.
So
I say in a sense, like when I was younger, I used to get a lot of comments like about my complexion and how dark I was and stuff like that. And I would see people that was lighter, and you know, it made me feel like I wanted to be lighter, or I wanted to be something different. And you know, as a kid, you're so impressionable, you don't know any better. Like I had people say some of the most hateful, rude things about me. Yeah. Like, I remember being in school, and one of the girls, like, we was laughing because somebody had said a joke, and one of the girls was like, Fred, you shouldn't be talking about anybody. And then she was like, look at your skin, and I was like,
it's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. And you got to think about that as a kid, you know what I'm saying? You hear stuff like that, it really affects your self-esteem. But I'm glad that I overcame that over the years, and I'm proud and I'm happy with who I am. I actually do love myself. But not only that, they also did an experiment with this. They had the dolls. Have you ever seen that experiment?
I don't think.
So they had a white doll and a black doll, and they took all of the kids. They took black kids, and they said, which doll is the prettiest? And majority of the kids pointed at the white doll. I don't even think none of them pointed at the black doll.
I think I heard of that. I think I heard that before.
And that just show you how this programming is, we program our children so early, and they feel down about themselves. They even had a picture of a white boy on the ground crying, and then they had a black boy standing behind him, and they said, what do y'all think is wrong with this picture? And all of them said, we think the black boy pushed him off the swing. And it just shows you how we are programmed. And I feel like that's what happened to me as a kid. I was programmed just by the imagery and all of the stuff that I seen. And that's what made me internally feel like I didn't want to be black. But like I said, now I'm proud. Like,
that's true.
I'm happy. That was a while ago. It ain't now. It wasn't recent. But.
That's crazy, man. But me, personally, man, I think at the end of the day, everybody's different people, right? So what the shit that he experienced, I never experienced before. And the shit that I experienced, he probably never experienced before too. But that's what makes us as people, as a person. Because if we all was experiencing the same thing, we will all be the same person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we all tripped over and fell, or we all fucking got hit with a bat behind the head because of how everybody here look. If everybody in the world had the same experience, we will all be the same person.
It'll
and
be
that
robotic.
exactly, and we wouldn't have a personality. We will, you know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes us people, unique and people. Our personalities are different. Our experiences are different. That's what makes us people.
Yeah.
We lit.
One last thing, because if you didn't go through what you went through, you would be a different person than you are right now.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. You're right about that.
I just feel like we're lit, and I get where that comes from. That's a part of colorism, and that happens a lot in our community. And I just feel like if we all just accepted our blackness more, we would just be great.
Like when I was younger, I moved to
really
like a town.
It's not easy to accept your darkness, especially when you're young, or when the standard. Well, it's not. I don't really want to say a standard, but when everybody damn near is looking at lighter as beauty, it's not as easy as what people think. You just ain't gonna wake up one day and be like, I accept my blackness if you ain't never really felt beauty in it.
And then you got the people, like I said, that experience that type of thing, like, oh my God, your skin color, versus the people like, oh my God, I love your skin color. People grew up a different kind of way. Mm-hmm. So that's why everybody can't, like, some people can't fully accept it and others can't. You know what I mean?
It takes time, but you'll get it.
Exactly. And it also depends on how you grew up.
Yeah.
That was like predominantly like white and Hispanic. I never felt like specifically like, oh, I wish I wasn't black, but I did like look at other people and say, I wish I had hair like them. I wish I looked more like them.
Like I love being the race that I am, but having 4C hair and having darker knuckles, darker kneecaps, especially in elementary school and middle school, getting through that was really hard. Now at this age, I'm learning to accept all parts of me, but I still battle with it like every day.
There were times where I maybe wish that I wasn't Black American, that maybe I wish I was an African woman or Brazilian, because I feel like Black Americans, like we kind of were disconnected from our African roots and our heritage. And that part kind of hurts because it's like we don't really have much to call our own besides like Ebonics or AAVE. But Black American culture has ultimately set the tone for a lot of modern day pop culture too, so I'm proud of that part as well.
I would raise my kids differently than my parents raised me.
That's a good one.
Let's see what they say first.
if you
what people
haven't
say,
had an experience
or
with whether sexual
agree.
abuse
People
or some type of violence in your home, you are lucky in the Black community
Wait.
because it happens to sexual abuse. Or if you haven't had an experience with whether sexual abuse or some type of violence in your home, you are lucky in the Black community because it happens to so many of us. And I feel like with me experiencing that growing up, I would never beat my child. I don't want to have to feel like beating my child is the resource or a source of like them respecting me. I want them to know about mental health and take their mental health actual like serious because we don't take it serious in the Black community at all.
I love that you mentioned that specifically about mental health because it's something you can't talk about in our community sometimes. It's like, well, what's wrong with you? Like, are you crazy? I'm gonna whoop your tail. Like, you shouldn't be acting this way. I give you everything. You have no reason to be depressed.
Right.
I don't want to reciprocate that onto my children, and I don't want them to feel like if they're feeling depressed, if they're feeling overwhelmed, I don't want them to think they can't come to me and talk about it. My parents, they didn't have that opportunity to communicate with their parents because they were raised in a completely different generation.
Okay.
So now, like, I see my mom was, raising me this way because that's what she's used to, but I'm going to cut it off with my line. Well, our kids are probably going to be like, yeah, I ain't doing that. When I have my kids, like each generation gets wiser and they learn something else or have resources to something else. So I just want to always highlight the good things that my parents did. I've already acknowledged them and addressed the bad things with them, but now I can forgive and let it go and just highlight what they did do right and kind of mix that with my own.
I can't.
So how you? Oh,
You
shit.
can go first, bro. You can
All
go
right.
first for this one.
So with that, I do agree that some things that we should do different, especially like abuse and stuff like that, and sexual assault. Those are big issues in the Black community that actually need to stop because it wasn't sexual assault in my home. You know, I'm not gonna be like I got abused because a lot of times I did deserve some of those whoopings I got, but then sometimes some people was taking it a little too far. So I do agree with changing sexual assault, abuse, and also mental health. That is something that's not really paid attention to a lot in our home, and we actually do need to pay attention to that because some people mentally are not right and they actually need help. I do disagree with the man talking about not whooping his child. If you don't whoop your child, your children are going to go out there to the world and somebody's going to whoop your child. Right. And it might not be with a belt or their hands.
Right.
It might be a little different.
So for me, I would definitely raise my children different. Okay, let me say this. So I would raise my children different. Like so, with my mom, I will raise them how my mom raised me, and my mom raised me the best way she can because she was a single parent, taking care of 4 children, and she working the best lifestyle she can. And she's one reason why I'm even doing YouTube, trying to get her in a better place, this and that, you know what I mean? But besides that, I'm trying to raise my kids like how my mom raised me, not like how my dad did to me. I was one of those kids that dad had left him, hasn't really like I talked to him here and there. Well, we're not as connected. You know what I mean? We're still disconnected. You know what I mean? But something to talk about for another time. But really though, yeah, I would definitely want to raise my kids better than how my dad raised me. If that makes sense. I want to be there for my kids more. My mom was literally my mom and my dad. So you know what I mean? I learned everything from her. I learned the good, the bad. I think whoopings, discipline is necessary. When you're breaking a glass or you fucking like doing shit like it shows that you can't. Well, yeah, it seem like you can, but you can't do whatever you want in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't go to a store and still like your parents are gonna whoop you for that, or they give you the lessons that you need to learn at a young age. So when you get older, you'll
go out there in the world and be productive.
Exactly, and learn. Your parents get you set up for the real world with discipline.
Mm.
You have to discipline yourself not to do this, not to do that, so you can earn and make that and get that shit yourself without even having to do certain things. There's always a loophole when going and chasing your dreams and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So you can't just snatch it from nobody.
Another thing that I'll say about this subject, I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. I do agree that we should do some things differently from the way our parents do. But I feel like if you focus so much on doing differently from what your parents did, you ultimately hurt your children. So let's say you grew up poor. So you work your butt off every day. Well, your children, at least your parents was around you a little bit more, even though you was poor. You got to build that bond. But now you decided to work your butt off, and guess what your children are missing out on? They missing out on that bond with you.
Right.
So don't focus so much on trying to do differently what your parents did. Just be a great parent, and I feel like you'll be fine.
That's what basically I was trying to say too.
Yeah.
Like, I want to raise my kids like good. You know what I mean? Have that bond with my children. Like my mom had her bond with me.
Yeah.
Can't be honest about who I am.
I can't be honest with who I am.
I can't be honest about who I am.
Like if I'm in a white space, I'm like constantly like, how am I coming off? But a lot of times for me, it's like, in terms of being trans, also like, how am I walking? How am I talking? How am I being received? Do these people, are they speaking at me or looking at me like they're comfortable with me?
You care too much.
It's just pretty tiring sometimes
That's
when I'm around other people.
You shouldn't really have to worry about what people say about you. You know what I mean? Like, fuck their feelings. Fuck what people say about you. Do you?
You're too grown to be caring about other
Exactly.
people.
Now, yeah, I understand when you was younger, you was a kid. Oh man, they're the cool kids. Oh man, those are the funny kids. Whatever. Why can't I be in a group with them? Like, I understand you had those kind of moments, but fuck what people say nowadays. You a grown ass man. You a grown ass woman. Like, you free to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to worry about what people say as long as you doing you.
Exactly.
And I'm constantly checking myself.
Since we're in the age of like cancel culture,
That shit
it's just really easy. I
hope that shit fucking ends, bro.
feel like even if you want to be honest, it's like sometimes you can because you have like a fear of getting canceled or a fear of people like lashing out on you. And I feel like in certain senses like that, I can't be completely honest in terms of like my views on certain things just because of like how people are going to react.
It takes a lot for a person to be themselves and fully own their identity, no matter who you are or what you are. So living in that, I've learned to own that, and I'm always blunt. I'm always me. What you see is what you get. If you got a problem, you can leave. So yeah,
it's exhausting to try to defend yourself all the time about who you are, but at the end of the day, I sleep better at night knowing that I'm just me.
So I do agree with that part about cancel culture. I don't feel like cancel culture is actually hard to beat. All you got to do is remain consistent. If you got a true loyal fan base, they don't care what anybody else say. A true adult will listen to what you got to say, even though they don't agree with what you say. They can respect your opinion and keep on going. You don't need people that's going to counsel you because you have an opinion.
Right.
That's just ridiculous, and that shows you what type of person they are. I don't like dealing with people like that. If I talk to you about something and you just got your mind made up and you don't want to hear what I got to say, don't let your business.
I mean, cancel culture is something that people just entertain. If you don't entertain that shit, you just ignore that shit, and you keep fucking doing you, whatever, keep acting the way you are. People gonna have mixed feelings about you, but at the same time, those probably gonna be, if you do make YouTube or whatever you do, they're still gonna follow you. They're still gonna watch your videos. They're still gonna do this, do that. Like, people say, for example, 6ix9ine's a rat, this and that. They cancel him and shit like that, but they still, people at one point before he was a rat, people hated that man, but they still give him views. They still watch his shit, and it makes no sense to me. So that's how people gotta be nowadays. You ignore that shit. That shit is not important at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a long one.
If y'all like this video, man, I mean, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to my boy.
Multiple minds hearing multiple messages, and it's Freddie.
And obviously, subscribe to your boy KG. We out of here, man. I'll see y'all later to the next video.